There's a lot more going on in Georgia that involves more than just a very, very low rejection rate in defiance of historical statistical norms. There's a court filing in Georgia, too, where people have gone on the record. Now, again, for the liberals listening and the media types who, don't do evidence and any kind of journalisming at all, these are court documents, meaning the people who are referenced in the court document I'm about to show you from Georgia did this crazy thing, Joe. They raised their right hand and said, I'm going to tell you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Oh,
here's a court document in Georgia that's really, really weird. Check this out. Sworn statement from someone. I'm not going to read this whole thing here. If you want to watch the video, you can read to rumble.com/Bongino. I have it up on the screen right now, but this is really weird. So you have this affiant saying that most of the ballots had already been, she's talking about mail ballots they received that look like they've been handled. Why, Joe? Because they had. Someone mailed it in, the mailman handled it, and the voter handled it, right? Handled the ballot.
Right.
So it's he or she, whoever this affiant is, says, hey, so most of the ballots had already been handled. They've been written on by people and the edges were worn. They showed obvious use. Again, folks, why? Because they were filled out and handled by voters. This isn't complicated. I know liberals are having a tough time here. However, one batch, he or she says, stood out. It was pristine. There was a difference in the texture of the paper. It was as if they were intended for absentee use, but had not been used for that purpose. There was a difference in the feel. These ballots included a slight depressed pre-fold so they could be easily folded and unfolded for use in the scanning machines. There were no markings on the ballot to show where they'd come from or where they'd been processed. They stood out. I said I wouldn't read it, but I'm actually interested. I'm going to read the whole thing. Sorry. Goes on. One more, quickie. In my 20 years of experience of handling ballots, again, this is the affiant there, I observed that the markings for the candidates on these ballots were unusually uniform, perhaps even with a ballot marking device. By my estimate in observing these ballots, approximately 98% constituted votes for Joe Biden. I only observed 2 of these ballots as votes for President Donald J. Trump. Again, are we not allowed to ask questions? Do you want everybody follow? Joe, you tracking what this affiant is saying? Sworn, right hand up. Hey, it's all true. Nothing but the truth. Mm-hmm. So help me. She's saying that, when you get mail-in ballots, do you have a piece of paper? Hey, we're going to use the Hunter Biden receipt for the Hunter Biden signature. Remember that, Paul?
There we go.
Can you print me another one? So here's what happens with a mail-in ballot. I'm sorry, folks. I don't mean to waste your time because you're all super smart. But here's what happens. When you get a mail-in ballot, you get a box. So let's use the back. So it has a little circle. And let's document this out. Biden, Trump, because there's liberals watching here, okay? So Biden, Trump. Can you see that a little bit? I know there's a little bit of light shining off, but I don't have my Sharpie. So I voted for Trump. This is how I voted. I'm walking you through. It's very complicated. Liberals need to be walked through. So I just want to make sure you understand what this affiant in Georgia is saying because it's very serious. So this is what Dan Bongino and Paula did, talking about myself in the third person like Bob Dole. So this is what Dan Bongino did. He filled that out. There you go. There's my Trump box filled out. You then do this. This is crazy, folks. Follow me here. We're going to do a tutorial. You actually fold it. Handling. I mean, I know, Joey. I know you're puzzled. You fold the ballot or whatever. However, it usually comes pre-folded. And see, I don't have an envelope. So let's pretend we have a in the envelope. And then my mailman, Brian, who's a great guy, I walked out. I said, hey, Brian, can you take my ballot here? Yeah, sure, buddy. And then he has a hand and that's what handling means. He grabs it. So when he grabs it, it goes in a batch. They get banged up and stuff. They come out and then they get little edges and stuff and they look a little worn because they've been handled. Yeah, that's not what happened with these votes in Georgia. They came in seemingly pristine, not looking handled at all. And interestingly enough, Joe, you see how when I voted for Trump on my ballot like that, you see how that's like messy and it's not uniformly filled out? Like you filled it out like the Scantron. Remember when you were in college? These younger kids are like, what the hell are you talking about? Everyone our age is like, I remember the Scantron. You don't fill out them uniformly. But strangely, all of the circles seem filled out the exact same way, as if they were being filled out by a ballot marking device that was marking the ballots intentionally. Folks, not to get off on a tangent here, but nothing in nature is uniform. The principle of entropy and disorder reigns everywhere. You drive down your street here where I live on this island over here, and you see that bushes, where landscapers are perfectly cut across the top. There are no straight edges in nature. You let those bushes go for 4 or 5 days, disorder reigns. Fractals, chaotic design everywhere. Well, fractals are more orderly, but not orderly like that. There is disorder reigns in nature. Whenever you see uniformity, there is something unnatural about it. So you're telling me the ballots were filled out the exact same way with a device, a potential device here, and they're all filled out uniformly, and none of them had any bends or handling in them, and 98 were for Biden and 2 for Trump. You think that's worth looking into? Is there an explanation? I hope so. Can there be? I hope so. But that explanation requires me to assume a whole lot. That 98 people managed to fill out a ballot the same way and not handle them right? What the heck happened there? The Epoch Times has a great piece on this, folks. I strongly encourage you to check out. Again, in the show notes today, bongino.com/newsletter if you'd like to check it out. Check this out about the Georgia situation. Georgia recount witnesses saw Trump votes counted for Biden. Affiants also swore to have seen suspiciously pristine, uncreased mail ballots uniformly and perfectly filled out. When you see perfection, that's not nature, meaning that's unnatural. Worth looking into? Let's go to the screenshot from the Epoch Times piece, because it gets worse in Georgia. 3 of the affiants, again, people who swore under oath, testified that they witnessed ballots cast for Trump being placed in stacks for Biden and counted toward the tally for the former vice president. One of the 3 said she recorded the activity on video. Wow, that'd be interesting. Probably means she has a video. Nicholas Zera said he saw ballots cast for Trump being placed in a pile for Biden when he observed the recount in Henry County. Other observers told Zera that they noticed the same activity at 3 other auditor tables. When he brought the issue to the attention of the election official on site, it was met with extreme hostility. We allowed to ask questions anymore? Again, for the umpteenth time, is there a potential innocent explanation for this? Of course. If someone has it, we will put it out on the show.
You just heard Dan Bongino.